r/askreddit. What is the single most you'll understand it when you're older thing?
Friendships fading away. I remember my dad telling me all kinds of cool stories about things him and his friends did in the past. I even asked him, why aren't you still friends with these people? He really did basically say it's complicated. You'll understand when you're older. Even back then, I remember thinking that's crazy. Me and my friends will always be friends. We'll always be friends. Sitting here now in my early 30s and it really hits home.
And similarly, how when you're young, you take making friends for granted and don't realize how much harder it is when you get older.
Not everybody is going to like you, even if you're a good person.
You can be the ripest, juiciest peach there is, but someone out there doesn't like peaches.
The quiet, boring, simple times are the best. Everyone's fed, happy, healthy, chill, napping. These are the good times.
Very true.
Sleep is no punishment. It's a gift.
Yep, I used to dislike nap times when I was in kindergarten. Now that I'm older, I wish I could take a nap here and there during my work days.
Naps become a gift at about the exact point in life when you get to set your own bedtime, but still have a set time in the morning when you have to wake up. In kindergarten, I was always well rested since my parents guaranteed I got 10 hours of sleep a night, or whatever it was at that age. And I had passed the developmental point where I needed a nap to tide me over until bedtime. Nap time was just laying on the floor in excruciating boredom. Today, though, a nap is a great way to deal with the fact I really should have gone to bed at least an hour earlier than I actually did.
If the door is closed, you should always knock.
I feel that younger people are the ones who understand this, and adults are famously oblivious to it.
I'm going to respect your privacy by knocking, but assert my authority by opening your door anyway. Timmy Turner's dad.
Money. There was a reason that you didn't get those shoes, the scythe, a new, shiny car, etc. Maintaining a home and keeping the family fed is effing expensive.
King Triton, Ariel's dad was right. She was just a child and she was not in love with the random prince she saw for all of 30 seconds.
Time. Wasting time and how time flies. It's mid-BC and I'm saying to myself, what the heck? It's been 9 months of COVID and I can't believe this year is almost over. As you age, it seems to go faster and faster. When I was younger, I felt like time just dragged on some days.
I think the reason time flies faster when you're older is because you have more life to compare it to, making a day seem shorter in the grand scheme of things the older you get.
When you are 5, a year is 20% of your whole life. When you are 20, a year is 5% of your life. You usually live a lot longer than 20.
Hey, getting older. Never thought much about when adults would say you're still young. Just enjoy it. I always wanted to be older because I was tired of ease, wanted to be out of college, etc. Now I want aging to slow down a bit.
My great-grandmother used to warn us that time speeds up when you're older. But I think she's right.
I distinctly remember telling my grandmother as I approached my 9th birthday that I wished I could skip this birthday and go straight to 10, because 10 years is a cool decade, and how cool is that? She told me I shouldn't wish my life away, and that I would go quicker than I thought. I remember thinking, well, it's been pretty slow so far. I'm 24 now, and she was right.
Why, it's so annoying when you forget to take the chicken out of the freezer.
Man, I don't know how parents in particular survived before the microwave oven. I'm a reasonably not incompetent home cook. I understand there's nothing you can do with a microwave that you can't do without one, but doing without requires a lot more time, attention, and planning ahead, all of which are in very short supply with little kids underfoot. Also, unsolicited helped, use the lower power settings. They do take longer, but they allow the heat to diffuse out of the hot spots faster than it accumulates. So you get a nice, evenly hated meal and not an ice salad with lava dressing.
It is possible to do everything right and still fail. Don't let it consume you. Pick up the pieces and move on. I had to learn this after a project that I was on for 3 years was sabotaged and shit-canned. I did some amazing work and poured my life into that project. In the end, I had nothing to show for it. It put me in a real slump for a few years. I'm still trying to pull myself out of it without becoming a cynical and jaded asshole.
Thank you for saying this. My unit was closed after 20 years, and it has been a struggle. I tried to focus on the people helped, things learned, and to find something else that gives me the same thrill, or maybe comparable thrill.
The sound of your joints exploding every time you get up.
Yep, just moving your arm makes something crack.
Why my parents would look disgusted eating/drinking anything that was sweet. I never understood why they watered down juice until now.
True. Soda used to be great. I could not imagine drinking water at a fast food restaurant. Drank so much of it. Now soda is gross, and a half can is enough.
Something a little more light-hearted, but about half the jokes on cartoons like SpongeBob take on a whole new light once you've got more experience under your belt.
You either die a SpongeBob or live long enough to become a Squidward.
Good people aren't always nice people, and vice versa.
Nice is not the same as kind. Nice is image management. Kind is caring about other people.
What parents sacrifice just so you can do something fun? Last night, my husband and I sat in a line of cars for an hour and a half so our kids could see this cheesy drive-through light display in my town with Santa and other characters. 0/10 not worth it for us. But the kids loved it, and it was worth it to see them be able to do a fun Christmas activity during a pandemic. It made me think of how much my parents had to endure taking my brother and I to theme parks and stuff as a kid just to see us happy. I appreciate it infinitely more now.
Socks are a very nice gift.
Underwear, too. The nice stuff is expensive, and let's be honest, we all have a few pairs that need replacing.
Nah, that hole isn't that big. I can get another 6 months out of them.
Why elderly people in nursing homes who get no visitors are so lonely and filled with despair.
We had to put my mom in a home because we physically could not care for her anymore. She didn't want to be there, and we didn't want her to be. But there weren't any other options. My dad was there every day until he got sick and died. My sister and I stopped in a couple of times a week each. The last month of her life, I was there every day. I hope she knew I did the best I could to take care of her.
I'm sure she did. The most valuable thing you can do is give your time, and it sounds like you did exactly that. She definitely knew.
Teenagers are just kids. It's something I quite literally was not capable of understanding until I wasn't a teenager anymore. When I was a teenager, I felt so grown up.
And how sometimes some adults are just kids in adult bodies, or how adults are simply just flawed human beings too. Used to look up to adults for what's right and wrong, but as we grew older, we kind of realized that adults, such as our parents, are simply just flawed human beings, and they may not know it all too either.
That the quality rather than quantity of friends matters.
I'd rather have 4 quarters in my pocket than 100 pennies.
That's a great phrase. I love it.
Understanding why your parents wanted you to go play with the awkward kid, or why they were so keen to help you make friends. It's beyond annoying as a kid when your parents try to guide who make friends with, but most parents instinctually know that bad social habits start early, are hard to break, and can be a real burden when you are older.
My mom never liked my friend group, and it really annoyed me. Looking back, half of them were assholes anyway, and the other half were already doing things that led them into a life of drug addiction after high school. I never got into drinking and drugs like that, but everyone around me was doing it, and I had every opportunity to. Looking back, she was just looking out for me, and even though she didn't have proof of what we were doing, she was just an adult who had lived and could tell it wasn't a good group of friends.
I have no idea how I made it to where I am today. Not that I have a crazy awesome life, but considering the opportunity I had for effing up, it's a little surprising. From 15 to 18, I was kind of a delinquent. Never got caught, but I was still doing some stuff. Lots of underage drinking and lots of weed. Most of my friends that I hung out with outside of school were not good influences, but I graduated, left for college, and never went back. So many times where life could have gone another way. Hand-me-downs. I absolutely hated them, even though my grandma was a genius with them. Dyeing artistic patches, new buttons. They just didn't last compared to the new clothes my older sister had. Then I had 3 boys in 6 years. I'm seriously grateful that my grandma tried so hard to make my hand-me-downs look good. I get it now.
I totally thought that I was going to buy all new cute stuff for my kiddo. Then the pandemic hit, and I hate buying online. My brother came by with an enormous bag full of clothes from size 18 threet, and my Sil had kept them all in pristine condition, despite the fact that most of them had been worn by both of my nephews, and I'm so grateful. Kiddo won't need new clothes for at least a year, hopefully. He's growing fast. Same when I lost weight really rapidly. Buying new clothes is too expensive when they're going to be hanging off you in 2 months. Go to the thrift store
We were gifted a tub of clothes for our son. We added to it and gifted that tub a few years later. I'm sure that tub is still making the rounds. Seriously, don't go buy clothes. Every parent that has a child is happy to give you whatever no longer fits their child. And please take these toys as well. Yes, and these shoes. Want a crib? We've got one, plus a stroller, and a bike, and a stand-up scooter. Stuffed animals galore.
Why the pet hamster changed colour?
Press F for biscuit.
F, now give me biscuit.
That everything has shades of grey / is a sliding scale. It is so easy to understand the world as absolutes when young. Suddenly realizing in my late teens / early 20s that basically nothing is an absolute was a total revelation that really steers my understanding of everything and undoubtedly makes me a better person.
I cringe so much when I think about how I used to think I knew everything when I was a teen, and everything had to be so unnuanced. I'm pretty much the opposite now, which is funny because back then I thought that I was pretty much fully developed and that this was how I was going to be forever.